Okay, it's 5:30. Welcome to our Food and Nutrition online poster session. I'm going to moderate the next 40 minutes. My name is Christina Plank and I'm working at the IDR, the institute that is hosting Truppentag this year at BOKU. Since we have quite an ambitious program of eventually 10 short poster presentations within the next 40 minutes, I would really dive into it. We do it in such a way that you take maximum 2 minutes per presentation, since there's so many of you. And then we have time for one question. And if there is more time in the end, we can use that time for further questions. So I would ask the technicians, please, to share the first poster. We take the order as indicated on the web page. Anna, if you could go ahead and share the first poster, this would be great.
We still have some people from the left sitting in here, so I'm trying to get them out. One second. Sorry, there's still a lot going on here. Which presentation do you need first?
The first one from Ilimat Lafia.
Could you say the name again?
Ilimat Lafia. It's on peer education. It's the first one in the program.
I don't think I have that presentation. Give me 1 second, I'm sorry.
I can also share it if you give me the rights, like I have them open, so that's easier. Or I can just share it.
What did you say?
I could also share it if that is easier for you.
Yes, of course. If you can, perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to share it.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, now you should be able to see a poster, and Ilimat Lafia, please go ahead. Your 2 minutes. Please turn off. Yes, okay. So, Ms. Lafia, can you hear me? It would be your turn now to say a couple of words regarding your poster.
Hello.
Ah, perfect. Please go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, now we can't hear you. Sorry, I'm stopping the presentation. Ms. Lafia, can you say just a couple of words regarding your poster? Okay, if that doesn't work, we just try the next one. I don't know if anybody from the group is present on the comparative biochemical and antioxidative and sensory attributes of freeze-dried and air-dried Chandler strawberry fruits. If so, please make yourself visible, because Sami Ullah, who submitted it, I can't identify him in the room. If not, we just go to the third presentation. On the soybean, is somebody from the group present? Angeline Nagmasi Gonchipe, is he the corresponding author? I can't see her in the room. Is there anybody else from the group present? Okay, nobody. Let's go to the fourth poster then. The phosphorus fertilizer, management of grain quality and seed particular concentrations of black rice for consumption and production. Anybody from that poster group? Nobody makes himself or herself visible, but I see the fifth one from on nutritional frontiers, the analyzing household and diet quality and health outcomes in Nigeria.
Okay.
Oh, great. Let me just quickly open up your poster. There it is. I'll share it and I'll give you like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Just to very quickly start off. Okay, thanks.
Okay, as I said, the title of the poster is Unlocking Nutritional Frontiers, Analyzing Household Diet Quality and Health Outcomes in Nigeria. By way of background, poor diet is widespread in Nigeria, with a typical diet being dominated by calories sourced from staple foods and animal source protein, with fewer calories obtained from nuts and seeds, fruits and vegetables. Okay, such diet composition are considered suboptimal following global standard dietary recommendation like that of WHO, which is displayed on the poster, which requires that only 1/3 of the total intake of an individual should be sourced from grains, while the rest would be obtained from nuts, seeds, fruits, and vegetables. This study actually employed secondary data sourced from the 2018-2019 Generalized Household Survey data set, and we extracted relevant data for the study. So moving to the core of the work, the main objective was that we wanted to measure the extent to which, or assess the extent to which household diets adhere to the WHO diet recommendation, which is displayed on the poster. In addition to this, we also measured the effects of diet quality on health outcomes. So yeah, and then moving to the results quickly. The result shows that we measure diet quality using the Global Dietary Recommendation Score, which is a summary score that combines two sub-components, which are the NCD risk foods and the NCD protect foods. NCD risk foods include those foods that should be consumed in limited quantity or not consumed at all. They are displayed. I wouldn't know whether you can see that on the poster. We also have the NCD protect foods, and those foods that would protect the body from non-communicable diseases. The result for Nigeria shows that although we have a low consumption of NCD risk food, that is food that would induce non-communicable diseases, the consumption of NCD protect food is also equally low. So it's like a zero-sum game. The benefit that should have been derived from the relatively low consumption of NCD risk food is being cancelled by the low consumption of NCD Protect food. So given or moving to the GDR score, the score is about 10.52, if you can see that on the poster. By implication, this means that most households in Nigeria, they are about halfway towards meeting this WHO dietary recommendation. Then I also did an estimation regression now to show to provide an empirical evidence on the effects of diet quality on non-communicable diseases. I made use of two indicators to measure health outcomes. We used the incidence of non-communicable disease, and the second one, the prevalence of stunting among under 5 children in Nigeria. The regression result here shows that diet quality significantly impact or affects, or let me put it more specifically, it reduces the incidence of non-communicable diseases. And this is quite understandable, given that with adequate diet, it tends to provide essential nutrients, both macronutrients and micronutrients, that are needed to improve the overall health of an individual, as well as increase the immune function, which reduces infection and reduces the incidence of non-communicable diseases. And
okay, I'll stop you here. Sorry, I'm just being strict, because if there is more time, then we can take it. Just to have enough time also for the others. And for your question, if there is a question, thanks a lot for the very brief presentation. I'm sharing it because otherwise I cannot see you. So, because the idea is also that the poster session is now there, we meet online so that you can ask Mr. Umer a question. Are there any questions? Like we can take one question. Dear online audience. Just ask it.
So, Joshua.
Okay, Joshua, please go ahead.
So what informed your decision regarding the methodology you use? Why did you use such methodology and not a different one?
Okay, before the choice of a methodology, you must have conducted a methodological review. So I actually followed, starting with the diet quality indicator, which is the Global Diet Recommendation Score. It was developed by the Global Diet Quality Project 2021, which developed a questionnaire that has 29 food items for over 89 countries to allow for comparison across countries. So they actually gave a guide on how to measure diet quality, because they wanted to place much premium on the need for that household diet to adhere to the WHO dietary recommendation. So given the regression, you can see from what I said, the dependent variable, they are kind of, they have a binary response. You can see the question is whether the household experienced, any household member experienced non-communicable disease, or whether a child is stunted, which was done using the Z-score for the children within this age category. So based on the way the dependent variable has been specified, this definitely inform the choice of a logistic regression, given that it's a binary response, 0 or 1, that is yes or no. So if that's the case, then it's only logical to make use of a method that follows or that can capture a binary response for a dependent variable. So that really explains why I use that. And we have a number of studies that have been conducted to measure diet quality using, some use the minimum dietary diversity for women, some use the food group diversity score. But according to what I said, the GDPR report, they were like, these two other indicators only capture 2 aspects of diet quality. Diet quality has 4 main aspects. The first one is adequacy, we have diversity, we have moderation, and we have safety. The first 2 indicators I mentioned only captured adequacy part and the diversity aspect, but the GDR score, which was employed by the study, covered the part on moderation, the need to reduce the consumption of food that would trigger or induce NCDs, And the other aspect on safety, that is consumption of food that would limit or that would reduce an individual's vulnerability to NCDs. So based on literature and past studies, this informed the choice, and the specification of the model and the definition of the dependent and independent variables. This together informed the choice of the model that was adopted by the study. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. I remember that there would be a second question which you could take later on if there is more time, but let's continue in our list and see. I think there's nobody in the room, but I still want to ask, is somebody there from the team who's been working on milk quality based on soil fertility and pasture composition in flake-free systems in the Peruvian Amazon?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. You there? Sorry. So it's your 2 minutes now to present the poster, which I'm going to share now. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Jenny Ruiz, and together with my co-authors, I'm pleased to present our research titled Milk Quality Based on Soil Fertility and Pasture Composition in flake system in the Peruvian Amazon. This study was conducted in the Amazon region, situated between the Andes mountain range and the Amazon plain in the northeastern corner of Peru. Our research specifically focused, how you can see, in the provinces of Chachapoyas, like System 1, Bongará, like System 2, Rodriguez de Mendoza, like System 3, and Utcubamba, like System 4. These areas were selected based on the distribution of the Simmental flake breed as identified through a comprehensive survey. The primary objective of our study was to assess milk quality by analyzing soil fertility and the nutritional composition of pasture across 4 Simmental flake cattle production systems within the Amazon region. To achieve this, we collect and analyze some samples of pasture, soil, and milk at our laboratory at the National University Toribio Rodriguez de Mendoza and of Amazonas. We conduct a correlation analysis using Pearson correlation in our software, examining the relationship between pasture and soil parameters and milk components. And our findings reveal significant correlations, as you can see in some figures. Strong correlations were observed between pasture partial dry matter and milk fat. We found a positive correlation also between pasture partial dry matter and milk crude protein. And some moderate correlations were observed between pasture partial dry matter and total milk solids. Additionally, when we analyzed the relationship between milk and soil composition, we found moderate correlations between total solid milk, total solid and soil potassium, and milk crude protein and soil potassium, and milk lactose and soil phosphorus. Finally, our study also demonstrates moderate correlations between pasture and soil compositions as highlighted below: pasture crude ash and soil potassium concentration, pasture total dry matter and soil electrical conductivity, pasture crude fat and soil carbon, pasture crude fat and soil organic matter concentration. In conclusion, our research suggests that the combined composition of pasture and soil can significantly impact the nutritional profile of milk in these systems. Moreover, the implementation of effective soil and pasture management strategies holds the potential to enhance the overall productivity and quality of these cattle production systems. Thank you very much.
Thanks, and also for being that brief. So one question for Ms. Ruiz. Who wants to ask a question? Okay. You're all nutritional scientists, so go ahead.
Yes, I just have a very short question.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the kind of pastures that were fed, do you have anything that has to do with measuring the traces of pesticides and herbicides in the milk products that you analyzed? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, it's a really good question, but unfortunately, we haven't measured this kind of pesticides, of chemicals could have influenced the toxicity or contamination to milk quality. Because we had another focus, but maybe for forward, we can add this because it's part of quality. I know that.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let's move on and see if there's somebody here from the team who's been working on improving the quality of pearl millet and wheat flour composite bread by optimizing process parameters.
Hello.
Perfect. So your 2 minutes start now, and I'm sharing.
Okay. Good afternoon. My presentation is on improving the quality of pearl millet and wheat flour composite bread by optimizing process parameters. As we know, the bread is commonly prepared from wheat flour, but due to some biotic and abiotic stresses, the production is affected highly in developing countries. So on the other hand, there is also other cereals like millets, which are underutilized and able to overcome the mentioned challenges in the production at the farm level. So, but in the other cases, there is also some issues due to the presence of anti-nutrients from this millet, mainly phytate and tannin. So what we were doing is that we bring the millet from the farm, then we germinate it at different temperature and for different germination time days. Then we prepare it into the flour and mix it with wheat flour at different ratios. Then we prepare bread, and the bread is subjected for different nutritional and quality assessments. So these pearl millets were germinated for 1 to 3 days at 3 levels, and the germination temperature of from 25 to 35 degrees Celsius. Then we try to optimize this germination time and germination temperature. After that, we consider the flour sieve size of this millet at different sieve sizes and mix it the pearl millet with wheat at different blending ratio on the other side. By using these anti-nutritional components, mainly phytate and tannin, and the quality of bread as a response. Then, as I have mentioned, the proximate composition, anti-nutrients, functional property of both the bread and the flours and sensory analysis has been conducted in our laboratory in Bahir Dar University, Ethiopia. Then from the results, we have seen that the protein content has been enhanced because of this germination process, and germination reduces the lipid content that could be due to the hydrolysis of and the utilization of fat as input resource during the germination process for biochemical reactions. And germination also enhances the fiber content of this pearl millet. Germination also reduces these anti-nutrients, this phytate and tannin, which potentially able to bind the minerals and make it to be no more bioavailable in the digestive processes. Results: the optimum germination temperature and time has been 30 degrees Celsius in 3 days. Optimum mixing ratio has been 1 pearl millet to 9 wheat flour, and the sieve size of the flour were 150 micrometer flour particle size. And germination reduces the phytate by more than 86% and tannin content by more than 74%. And functional properties of the composite flour increase with increased pearl millet flour, while bulk density has been decreased. This bulk density has implications with packaging and transportation issues.
Okay, please
overall,
come to an end.
okay, thank you. Then overall acceptability of bread has been above average for all bread samples in 7 hedonic scale. So the pearl millet has a potential to alleviate the hidden hunger in developing countries if it is consumed by mixing with other staple cereals and crops. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Sorry, I know we have a brief today, but the idea is just to get an idea about your research, and then you find all the email addresses of the participants, and you can get in touch in addition if you're interested in the research. So one question for
In the room.
In the room, there's a question. Yes, please go ahead.
Hello, thank you for your talk. Eleonora Pichler from Book University. Actually, I would have 2 questions. The first one, by which means did you analyze the bread quality? Because I think you had a graph, but it was very small for us to recognize. And the second one, based on the results, which ratio, in your opinion, was the optimum one?
Thank you very much. Shall I interview now or just?
Yes, please just take it.
Thank you. Thank you for your interesting questions. The mixing ratio, let me start from that. The mixing ratio of the millet with wheat flour has been accepted, which has 1:9 ratio. 1:9 ratio. We see that from the sensory analysis and the bread quality. Yes, we have conducted many bread quality analyses. I can give you the detail if you ask me through email.
Okay, thanks a lot. And I identified already our 8th poster presenter.
No more question?
No more questions, sorry. I'm taking, like, there's at least 2 more people in the room I can see, and they should get a chance to present. So if there's more time, then in the end. Francis Uruar, please go ahead. Your 2 minutes start, and I'll share the screen again. Yeah.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Francis Uruar, and I'll be making this presentation on behalf of our research team, which includes Dasel Mulwa, George Abong, Faith Twitter, Christopher Kettle, and Celine Telmonte. This presentation is about community-led prioritization and conservation planning for wild edible plants in Turkana County. And so we are going to be sharing some insights on how you can better preserve these important resources. So just a small background is that wild edible plants are some of the most important resources in Turkana County. Turkana County is one of the food insecurity hotspots in the country, with over 90% of the people who are suffering from severe food insecurity and serious malnutrition. And so from our previous research, we found that wild edible plants provide between 12 to 30% of the dietary intake, depending on the season, but also providing close to 80% of the micronutrient intake among the consumers. Yet these wild edible plants also face serious threats that relate to overexploitation, climate change, among others. So in this study, we wanted to investigate what the community perceptions are, what the barriers to their conservation is, and also to, most importantly, to develop a framework that can be used to better preserve these wild edible resources. So to do this, we conducted some sequential qualitative study approach, where we combined scientific research methods with traditional knowledge. In the first case, we first conducted workshops with the communities to identify these perceptions, and then to be able to identify solutions and to develop the plan. And this was followed up with a validation workshop. So in the pictures there, you can see where community members are sitting down and they are discussing this plan. So to briefly say what we found out is that the community already recognized that these wild edible plants are at the risk of diminishing, and the fear is that this might increase the and expose them more to food insecurity. And so there are many challenges that we also experience. amongst the challenges that they prevent them or barriers to their conservation includes the delicate balance that they have to choose between conserving the plants and also feeding their families. What does this mean? For example, in a family where they have to cut down a tree, wild edible tree, in order to burn charcoal to get money to buy food for their families. And the choice would be very clear which one they would choose to cut down the wild edible plants. Apart from that, there's also gaps in intergenerational knowledge and also some other challenges that they experience. But really to address this, together with the community, they were able to develop a framework which involves, which can be used to preserve these wild edible plants. This framework, the advantage it has is that it recognizes both ex situ and in situ conservation approaches, with the in situ conservation approaches emphasizing the need for knowledge, the need to give incentives, and then to also to be able to formulate policies that prevent people from cutting down these wild edible plants. Amongst the ex situ approaches that were identified includes identifying and prioritizing the wild edible plants and then planting them in areas like communities, community lands like schools, churches, and also in the home gardens. This framework that we develop, the advantage is that it emphasizes the need for community leadership in preserving these wild edible plants and recognizes the importance of collaboration. So it gives roles to each and every player in the community, including the government, the civil society organization, research institutions, and the community themselves, all taking a leading role in the conservation of these important resources. So from there, we see that this framework can be very much applicable in areas like Turkana County and other arid areas like Turkana County to better be able to preserve the resources that they value so much. And if this is done, we can be contributing towards biodiversity conservation and enhancing food security and meeting the sustainable development goals. So this study was actually a partnership between the local communities, the University of Nairobi, and the Alliance of Biodiversity International and SIAT, with funding from GIZ. So thank you, and that is our brief presentation.
Okay, thanks a lot. One question. I don't know if there's any audience now still in the room. Otherwise, the online audience is also very welcome to ask a question.
No questions in the audience right now.
Okay. Dear online audience, a question for Francis Odor. Silence, no curiosity from the online audience. Okay, then maybe I have just a very overall question, because you were saying that this has been funded by Germans also as well. Do you know from any other, like, is this specific to Kenya, or would you know that they have been funding such kind of projects also in other countries? Just out of curiosity. Okay, also no answer to my question. Then let's move on. Is there somebody from the 9th online poster in the room? Sorry? Hello? Okay. On evaluating standard procedures for instrumental textual analysis of steamed potato relationship with sensory parameters.
Yes, I'm here.
That's you. Okay, perfect. So I don't have actually that presentation online. I haven't found it, so I can't share anything. I don't know.
If you give me the right to share, I have it open on my system right now.
Okay. I'm just checking if I can do that or if somebody else. Can you do that from the Truppentag, giving the rights?
Yeah, I am disabled. I don't know. The host has disabled my screen sharing.
Should be able to share now.
Okay, thanks. Should work now.
Okay. Just a second.
And yes, please just use the chat for any further questions or comments you want to leave. That's a very good idea.
Can you see this now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so good afternoon. Let me expand it. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oluwatoyin Ayetibo. I will be presenting the poster titled Evaluating Standard Procedures for Instrumental Textural Analysis of Steamed Potato. I work with Mariam Nakito and other scientists under the project RTB Breeding. So milling, okay. So mealiness and softness are considered as some of the key traits that are preferred by consumers of boiled potato in Uganda. But there have not been standard procedures that have been developed to assay the texture of this boiled potato in sub-Saharan Africa specifically. So the RTB project focused on developing the instrumental texture SOPs that can discriminate among potato genotypes, as well as being validated by correlation with sensory. Sorry, just a moment. Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Just go ahead. You have 2 more minutes left.
So to do this, we have two areas, potato growing areas of Uganda, where we obtained 9 genotypes, and these were steamed for a period of 15 minutes. And we conducted 3 different textural tests: Ottawa extrusion, TP, texture profile analysis, and the penetration test under standard conditions. We also conducted a sensory qualitative analysis by 12 panelists on a scale of 0 to 10 to score 11 texture descriptors. So what we found out was that there was a quite a good discrimination among the various potato genotypes that were used in the test. And the most discriminant textural parameter for penetration was the penetration work. For TPA, it was chewiness and hardness, while for extrusion, it was the work done to extrude the sample through a 5-grid plate. The correlations we found out for penetration, we found good correlations between instrumental hardness and the work done to penetrate through the sample, and sensory hardness as measured by hand, and the fracturability, cohesiveness, and smoothness. For TPA, the correlation was between instrumental adhesiveness and sensory moisture and mealiness. For extrusion, we found a very good correlation between the hardness, which is the maximum force, and the energy required to extrude the sample with sensory moisture release and hardness by hand. So in conclusion, we found that all the 3 procedures were discriminant among the 9 genotypes. Particularly, penetration was considered to be the best procedure with several correlations with key sensory attributes, while mealiness was only correlation that was significantly related, relating the mealiness to the TPA adhesiveness. So this work was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with cooperation of SIP, CIRAD, and NARO in Uganda.
Okay,
thank you very much. I wait for your questions.
Please unshare your screen, and there's time for 1 question before we take the last presentation. 1 question. Maybe in the room.
Well, how many repetitions were there? How many repetitions?
We have a question in the room. How many repetitions were there?
Hello, you said what?
How many repetitions were there was the question from the in-person audience.
Yeah, we had a minimum of 3 repetitions with 2 measurements per replicate. 3 measurements per replicate for evaluating the textual analysis.
Okay, thanks a lot. And now I know we go over time, but we still have one presentation left, the last one on the impacts of the Russian-Ukraine conflict and COVID. So I'm sharing again my screen because it's open there. And please go ahead, your 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Rashidi Abudu. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Rashidi Abudu. It is my pleasure to take you in Sub-Saharan Africa, especially in Africa, to understand the impact of the Russian-Ukraine conflict and the COVID-19 pandemic on the rice value chain, trade, and fertilizer use. As you know, in 2020, the world saw the emergence of one of the most damaging pandemic in recent times, which has been associated with food and nutrition insecurity. When things were somewhat improving, 2 years later, the Russia-Ukraine conflict showed its face in February 2022, with further implication on food and nutrition security. We asked ourselves, what are the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict on the rice value chain and fertilizer use in Sub-Saharan Africa? To answer this question, we rely on different data sets from the World Bank, FAO, and USDA, examining 3 different periods: before the COVID, during the COVID, and during the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Data analysis was conducted using 2 econometric models, fixed effect regression model, and conditional mixed process estimator to assess the determinant of rice consumption during crisis. We document some interesting findings. Results show that 2 years after the COVID-19 pandemic, the rice production system in Sub-Saharan Africa has been impacted negatively by the pandemic. Both shocks are positively correlated with an increase in fertilizer prices, urea and DEP, and an increase in cereal prices and global food prices. The empirical results show that during crisis, rice, wheat, and maize prices have increased. The results from the use of the conditional mixed process estimator show that the rise of the domestic prices of rice influence negatively rice consumption in Sub-Saharan Africa. To conclude, the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict have created a storm of challenges in Sub-Saharan Africa. The Russian-Ukraine war seems to have a more pronounced association with the increase in cereal prices and fertilizer use, which are increased for which are important for agricultural productivity. So, policymakers in Africa must prioritize investment in building a resilience in agri-food system to mitigate the impact of a future crisis and encourage the development of regional fertilizer manufacturing plant to reduce reliance on imports. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks a lot. And one last question for our last presenter. Who wants to take the chance?
Okay, a question. Quick one. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, you mentioned, I didn't hear him clearly, but he mentioned that the output of Oriza changed or was affected by the pandemic. I think I would like to ask whether they accounted for other factors that could have contributed to the variation in the output of Oriza, if I got that correctly. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. We focus mainly on 2 different periods. During the COVID-19 and during the Russian-Ukraine war. And we focus on the price of the rice. So we realized that the price has increased during the COVID-19 and has also increased during the Russia-Ukraine war. But the impact is more pronounced during the Russia-Ukraine war. So because of fertilizer prices, which also increased.
Okay, it's 18:15, quarter past. I'll close the session now. Thanks for all who have been presenting and for those who were asking one question each. I know it was very brief, but if you're interested in other people's work, as I said, you can find the email addresses from at least the corresponding author online at the webpage. And I hope you keep in touch if you want to ask more questions. Thanks a lot, and have a nice Tropentag. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.